Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praises to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Pray that the Most High blesses this lesson this afternoon, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand the events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. We're going to continue with a part 2 of the Hebrew understanding, okay, of Jacob's trouble. I needed to read a couple more verses going on down past what we read last time and connect them with the precepts that are in the sides. Now, something that our people need to understand, especially right now, is that we're getting a lot of videos and a lot of people who are trying to take us on the wrong path, or going to have us continue on the wrong path. If people are still talking about saying something like vaccines, forced vaccines, mark of the beast, the 70-year tribulation period, all that stuff right now. And what you got to understand is this: everything revolves around the Most High's chosen people. If all these people are making all these videos talking about all these different things, they're not telling you the truth, because everything is mixed with half truths, partial truths, a little bit of the truth, but everything revolves around the Most High's chosen people. Things have been working themselves up to getting to this point, but they did not accelerate as much until the Most High brought the two sticks together. Even more so, once we started to pray together at a specific time, all on one accord, things have pretty much, sped up even more. So as you can see the correlation between the Most High's people actually realizing who they are. That was one point. Realizing the scriptures were ours. That's another point. Realizing there's more scriptures. That's another point. Bringing the two sticks together. That's another point. Then all of us starting to pray together and ask for the Most High to deliver us. That's another point. So as you can see, all these things that are happening are all correlated to the actions of the Most High's chosen people. As the Most High gives us more knowledge and understanding, then we should be able to easily discern who the Most High is working with and who he's not. Once you start to hear people saying, I really want things to go back to normal, I'm hoping things go back to normal, and want to believe every little story that comes out that says that things are getting better. And it doesn't matter if they're a Gentile, because they definitely want things to get back to, to how it was before, because it was the times of the Gentiles. But I'm letting you guys know the times of the Gentiles are complete. And the Most High is now working to restore his people. So all the ones that you see that are fighting for any little kind of news that says that things are, are going to get back together soon, those are people that have been down with the Gentiles the whole time. And some of them look like Gentiles, but again, some of them are going to look like us. Because many of our people have sold out to the Gentile agenda, and they want to go back to that. No matter if their people are getting screwed over, they're happy with the Gentile agenda, and they were pretty much getting, getting hooked up by the Gentiles, so therefore they want to go back to that. So don't just assume that just because someone looks like you, that they're not down with the Gentile agenda. Because there are many people that are Hebrews, that say they're Hebrews, that look for anything to want to go back to normal or status quo, because they were happy with that. Now, when you start hearing these stories and all these little half-truths about, oh, that's the chip. Oh, that's going to be the chip right there. Just because someone has went and pulled out one verse and then gave you their breakdown or gave you their opinion does not make it a fact. And see, that's what has happened with a lot of people in this truth, is that they've been able to find one verse and then they break it down and they say that this is the only way they can be broken down, and that's what it means. So you got people still talking about the chip. Still talking about the 7-year tribulation period. So thinking about forced vaccinations. Do you now, before we get into this lesson, do you really think the Gentiles have that kind of power right now? You really think the Gentiles are worried about forcing vaccinations on the Hebrews right now? Have they not already forced vaccinations on our people for the last, 100 years? Ever since they've been forcing vaccinations since we've had babies. How long has that been going on? And it still hasn't worked. Our people are still strong. So what makes you think that all of a sudden now they're going to start pushing vaccinations when they've already been doing it? When it was the times of the Gentiles, they had their way with us. They were able to do all these different experiments on us. What's to make you think that now all of a sudden they're going to continue with that for the next 7 years? And look at their actions. If they really felt that they were going to be able to do forced vaccinations on our people, why are they running? If they really thought that they were going to be able to maintain these lands, why is everybody running? If they really thought that they could fight with the Most High, why are all the elites running? Why are they taking unprecedented actions with passing $2 trillion stimulus packages when there's no money in the first place? Why are they, to pass out to people? You see, even with that stimulus package, if they were really sincere, they would have tried to have taken care of the Hebrews that they have been, abusing for the last few hundred years. But see, even all the way to the end, they're not going to admit that they should have been actually trying to, make amends with the Most High's chosen people. Even all the way to the end, they're going to say, "Oh no, it's for everybody. It's for these certain people." They're not going to tell you who they really needed to be recompensing. So don't get so caught up with every little thing, especially these Gentiles are trying to make all these videos. If they're not going to admit who they are, they're not going to admit who we are. They're not going to admit the fact that the Most High is coming to bring recompense for his chosen people. Then how much truth do you think they're going to tell you? How much truth do you think they really have in them? Those are the kinds of things that you need to think about. And not be so quick to believe everything that a Gentile puts out in a video. And don't believe everything that a Hebrew puts out in a video. I tell you guys all the time, even with me, go research it. Go research the stuff that I show you. But you see, when I put things out, I will show you where I get it from. I will show you the, the precepts and everything else. I'm not just telling you, I'm not going to just read a verse. Oh, well, this is what this means. This means this is the mark of the beast. And it's nothing but my opinion. There's too many people, in this walk have been able to just say, oh, this is what the verse says. Okay, well, this is what it means. It doesn't mean anything else. This here book right here shows you, and you can see some other pretty mind-blowing things right now, about what, and then the other nations know. See, they've already seen all these precepts, and they actually made movies about it. You're going to see, definitely, what you're going to see right now is something that happened at the end of Avatar. That, trust me, very few people would have put together it had it not already been here in these precepts. But the Gentiles know exactly what is coming. So let's take a look here real fast. This is Jeremiah 30. Let's start at 7 again. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. So someone, okay, we've already talked about that right here, is about to go into Jacob's trouble. Look at 8. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bonds. Okay, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. So already during this time period, there's someone that's already enslaved, because he's having to come and break the yoke from off of our necks. Who are the people that have been enslaved the whole time? Who are the people that are still being enslaved even in this time frame, even in this society, who are still treated, as the worst, who don't get justice when they go to the justice system, who are kept perpetually in servitude? That would be the Most High's chosen people. So the fact that it says that in 8, then he's taken someone out of slavery and he's going to be putting someone else in slavery. Again, for it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. And that's connected with Isaiah 60 and 18. I think this one, 60 and Isaiah 60 and 18. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders. But thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. So this is happening in where? In our land. So this has to be happening in our land, which is exactly right here in the Americas, all north, all the way down to the south. Violence shall no more be heard in thy land. So what's coming when they're bursting our bonds? We are pretty much in servitude in our own land. And that's what's going on right here. Wasting nor destruction within thy borders. So no more wasting, no more destruction, no more of all that, horrible things happen to our people are going to happen within our borders anymore. Hence why we said Joel 2. If you looked on up a little bit more from the previous video, in Joel 2, what does he do with the armies? He kicks them out of here. He sends them back to their lands. And how is he going to do that? Because he says, violence shall no more be heard in thy land, wasting nor destruction within thy borders. Because he's about to get rid of these people that don't belong here. And that happened at the end of Avatar, where he was getting rid of all the other people. He's sending them back to their dying world. So the Most High is going to be sending them back to the lands that they had already given them previously. Again, but thou shalt call thy walls salvation, and thy gates praise. Okay? So let's continue. But they shall serve the Lord their God. That's going to be us. And David their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob. Okay, saith the Most High, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return. Okay, so that's going to be Jeremiah 3 and 18. Right here. In those days, the house of Judah shall walk with the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north. And that north is like a gloomy land. It doesn't necessarily mean a direction, okay? I'll get it for you guys real fast. Out of the land of the north to the land that I have given for an inheritance unto their fathers. So the Most High is about to move his chosen people back into their lands again. After he kicks them out, because that's what it talks about, kicking them out, removing them, and them not being here anymore. Okay, hold on. And I don't have that on me. I don't have that phone on me with that app. But the north, if you go here, it talks about, it's like a gloomy land, a desolate land. Okay? Not necessarily one of a direction. Okay? I don't know why that just moved. All right? And he's going to move them out of those gloomy lands, desolate lands, back into the chosen lands, the lands of their inheritance. Okay? Continue. Jacob shall return and shall be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. So Most High is going to definitely take us back, protect us, and rejuvenate the lands, just like it talks about in Joel chapter 2. Now, right there is Hosea 2 and 18. And in that day will I make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field, and with the fowls of heaven, and with the creeping things of the ground. And I will break the bow and the sword and the battle, okay, out of the earth. And I will make them to lie down safely. So if you look at the end, towards the end, the final battle scene in Avatar, I was taking a look at that this morning. You see how they were losing the battle. But the night before, Jake had prayed without Awa, trying to help them out, in this battle that was to come. And at the end, the animals turned on the humans, okay, and pretty much helped to turn the tide of the battle and destroy the humans and pretty much have them kicked out of the lands. So then right here, you talk about Hosea 2, is like the Most High is making a covenant with these beasts of the field and the fowls of heaven, and with the creeping things of the ground. And I will break the bow and the sword. That's what happened in the movie. The animals have to break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth. So after that battle scene, they were kicked out and never to return again. But they allowed some of the humans to stay with them, just like the Most High said He was going to do. He's going to return everything back to Israel. If you read Isaiah 14:1-3, how He's going to kick out, He's going to allow some of the Gentiles to stay. And that's what we're talking about right now. Some of the called out Gentiles right now are getting the knowledge, understanding. They will be allowed to stay in the promised lands. But the other ones are going to be getting their eviction notice very soon. Okay? Now verse 11. So Jeremiah 30:11. For I am with thee, saith the Most High, to save thee, though I make a full end of all nations whither I have scattered thee. Yet will I not make a full end of thee. Okay? And this is what He's been doing. I will correct thee in measure, and I will not leave thee altogether unpunished. And that's to talk about what we've been going through. Most High has been, pretty much punishing us in measure, letting us go through, like we wanted to be with the heathen. We wanted to be like them. So the Most High gave us our time, the last 500 years, to be with them. And look at how they've treated us. Because there's a whole lot more. I'll leave the rest for you guys to go ahead and check out on your own. But let's check out that Daniel 2:35. Oh, this is part of the movie right here when the animals actually come and start to help the people. They're going to go into battle. But Daniel 2:35. Then was the iron, the clay, the brass, the silver, and the gold broken to pieces together, and became like the chaff of the summer threshing floors. And the wind carried them away, that no place was found for them. And the stone that smote the image became a great mountain, and filled the whole earth. So you can see that the great mountain or the stone that comes is going to destroy all the nations. Now, I was watching a video, and it was talking about possibly being a meteor being coming, April 29th or sometime next, at the end of next month. Are we sure? I don't know. But you start looking at all the actions of the nations, how they're shutting down absolutely everything, running to their bunkers, leaving the vast majority of the people here on the earth to be destroyed, and not telling anyone what's coming. So, like I said, there's a whole lot of things that are coming down the pike. This week, we are going to observe our Passover Wednesday evening, okay, and a Thursday. And as you can see, things are changing rapidly. So the Most High is moving to restore His people. And as you start to look at the second part here, you realize that, if they had all this power for the next 7 years, why are they all running? Why are they shutting everything down? If they felt very confident and forcing vaccines down everybody's throats and everything else, why are they all running? You see, you've got to keep everybody else in fear of what is to come, and the things that are happening. They're all trying to keep playing that whole 7-year tribulation, that whole Christian doctrine. If that's so true, why are all the churches still closed? I said it just shows you how gullible people are. The Pope was pretty much gone for weeks while all this stuff was ramping up. He's been praying now for a few days for this virus to go away. And the virus is just getting stronger. More and more people are dying. Thousands of people or hundreds of people are dying every single day. But people so want to believe that he is true, that he's telling the truth, that they'll just pretty much ignore the fact that he was gone for 3 weeks. Their churches are closed, and still act like these people still have some kind of power. And even to today, if all these Catholics still think this guy has some power and are still listening to him, same thing with these pastors. Their churches are closed, but they're still going to listen to them talk on Sundays. Makes no sense. So now the governments are all running. They're all, going to their bunkers. These people run to their bunkers, and people are still scared of the narrative that they put up, they put forth with the whole 7-year tribulation period about the government's, going to force vaccines on everybody, and and all these other things. But that's that whole mental control that they have. That if they felt, and that's why I say you look at their actions, if they felt so confident, they wouldn't be running so much. But their actions show you that they're not confident because they know what is coming. The Most High is coming, and he's coming to reclaim his people and their lands, and eventually the entire world when the Most High is ready to. So I hope this video gives more knowledge and understanding, gives more understanding of the whole thing about Jacob's trouble and the fact that we've already gone through that trouble, and that the trouble that is coming now is coming for the Gentiles that have pretty much aligned themselves with the Church of Mahan, as well as our own people. There are many of our own people that have aligned themselves with the Church of Mahan as well. And these ones are the ones that are running, or they're just too delusional to see what's really happening right now. If you're still putting your faith in a church that has closed all their doors, has closed up all their buildings, because I guess this virus is more powerful than their God, then I said you're not following the Most High. If you're worried about what the government's doing when they're running, I said they're running from the Most High. I said then your faith is in a power that is not the real one, because the real Most High has now turned his face back to his people, and he's going to protect them. They're going to be the example of the people that he's going to protect in these perilous times. All praise is to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother, who is wisdom, who is the Holy Spirit. Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.